Hey traders, Raghi here, and if you've been following what we've been doing here in the Countdown Trader, or even the free videos at the Simpler Trading YouTube channel, or even Charts and Coffee, my daily show from 9 to 9:20 each day, Monday through Friday, you know that we've been focusing on buying the dip, buying pullbacks, specifically in markets that still have a high quality uptrend. Now that second part of it, buy the dip, is a strategy. Buy the dip in an uptrend, that's going to lead you to a high probability level of trading success. In other words, the right strategy for the right underlying market environment. So the question that I do get from time to time, and we're going to talk about a couple of the tools that I use apart from the indicators, although the indicators are so important, it's how you apply the indicators and how you understand overall market movement that puts the whole picture together. So the best trends in the market continue to be at the index level, the S&P, the NASDAQ, not the Dow, and not the Russell. So when you're looking for trends, it's still very much dominated by tech, financials, and healthcare. And that benefits the NASDAQ and the S&P. Now, when we have pullbacks in the NASDAQ, especially in the environment as we go into the fall trading season, a lot of traders are wondering at what point do we start thinking about being a bear? And there's only small corners of the market that are showing weakness. And it's very segmented to places like airlines. It's very segmented to places like transportation, and even to a certain degree, maybe industrials, that there could be a good argument for being bearish. But what I'm going to say, especially when it comes to transportation industrials, don't fight the broader indices. If the S&P and NASDAQ are heading up, grudgingly, the S&P and the NASDAQ will keep the Dow grudgingly from rolling over and turning into a downtrend. These three like to move together. Why? Because they are so similarly weighted. Now, this is all using the indices and the V-score and the JT multi and the grab candles and the wave. Now, when the markets do pull over, or roll over, I should say, or start to move lower in a more clear way, we're going to see red grab candles. We're going to see not just a handful of red, but we'll start to see propulsion dots. We'll start to see key moving averages broken. Well, traders want a heads up, and I get that. So here's the heads up, all right? So hopefully so far you understand that we want to follow the trends, follow the highest quality trends, and continue to buy the dips. That's high probability. But what might be an early warning to a rollover? And it's going to be things like these two markets, copper and crude oil. When equities like the NASDAQ and the S&P roll over, or simply retrace, and we see strength in copper and crude oil, as we did from the sell-off that was recently happening towards the end of the prior week into the early part of this fall trading season, crude oil and copper did not participate. And when they're not participating, there's a high likelihood that the equities move to the downside is really not going to be sustainable. So this is putting together all the pieces, starting with index first, right? Notice we're talking about the indices, then the sectors. How do we look at the indices? Through the indicators. And then we take another look at two very important canary in a coal mine markets, copper and crude. You start putting this whole picture together, it's going to start to give you a much clearer path to the direction you should be trading in and the specific markets that you should be focusing on. And stay tuned, because this is going to be a topic we will talk about not only through this month, but going into the next. And this is a very important topic. And think about the indices, think about crude and copper, and use the indicators. Trust your indicators, trust your gauges, because this is still a market in the S&P and NAS that still is being supported.